Alright. Welcome back to Nick Lenz's Doctor Who review, episode number 46. This is being the final segment of the Key to Time story arc. We have the Armageddon Factor, released in early 1979, well, from January 13th to February 24th of 1979. A six-parter, the only one of this entire story arc that is 6 parts. Isn't that strange, though? The first 5 parts were 4 parts apiece, and yet this was 6 parts. Yeah, I don't know the reason for that. Now, here's something interesting, though. 2 fun facts for the story. Well, aside from the fact that it's the final second Key to Time, and it's also the finale of season 16 of the series. It is the final appearance of Mary Tim as Romana. I just read the reason why. She got tired. She hated the writing. That's what she hated, the fact her character was written to be a damsel in distress, and also the fact that she didn't like to be reduced to a traditional assistant. She didn't like that. She just hated the writing. I read a line that just, it's nothing about her against anything she never say anything about Tom Baker. Just she hated the writing. That's the reason why she left the show. And we also see the debut of her replacement in the show, Princess Adrid, played by Leela Ward, who actually took over for the character for the most of the remainder of Tom Baker's time on the show. And this woman would actually become Tom Baker's wife very briefly before they split because of scheduling conflicts. So, the first half of the story is that the Doctor and Romana are looking for the final segment, and they arrive on Astros. They arrive there, and the first they arrive basically near where Zeos is, but something is blocking it. What it is, it's something else entirely. They don't show the exterior of this damn thing until like the final couple episodes of this thing. So, like they go to Astros, not Xeons, Astros, and apparently there's a nuclear war going on. Question is how long the war has been going on for. I think was mentioned by one of the characters, the wars were going on for about 5 years. Now, apparently there's this guy called the Marshal. And this guy is very full of himself, and seems like he's being manipulated to continue the war, we claim a victory, and of course we claim, the Xeons are basically launching our attack, and they pretty much lost all their ships by basically about halfway through the story. Yeah, I'm not kidding about that. Basically, about halfway through the story, they're down to like 1 ship, and that's the Marshal's personal ship. All of us have just been destroyed. So, he wants his victory. He wants to end in pure victory. And Princess Asher did mention in the story she's trying to contact Zeus, but she's got no response. Now, they actually do explain the reason why she didn't respond when they get the Zeus. So Doctor arrives, and, he arrives in an area of this, underground anyways. They say they're underground, though it could be inside a building. As for the surface, this is something quite strange, though. The surface of this planet is never shown. We don't see the cities. The only thing we see outside of the control room where the Marshal is, we see a room where it's very heavily radiated. That's one area. Another area is the surgical ward. Well, a hospital run by Astra's lover, Sergeant Merrick. Yes. Now I mentioned she's a 6. The whole thing with her is, 6 of this, 6 of that. The whole thing about her, aside from the fact she's a princess and she's basically royalty of the planet, nothing is much stated about her into the final episode. Now, of course, looking for the Key of Time, they don't find out where it is until the final part. Yeah, seriously. So, at first, we have it where the Doctor and Romana was sent to execute for supposed to be spies, and K9, who shows up, sent to scrapyard. But looking up, basically, the Marshal receives the reason, thanks to being manipulated while being meditating, looking into a mirror. Yes, imagine you're looking into a mirror and basically looking for advice, And by the way, on the other side of the mirror, it's a skull. Yes, it's a skull. And it's connected to somebody. Who is it? A character known as the Shadow. Yes, the Shadow. Which they reveal in I think it was in part 4 or 5. He's actually a servant of the Black Guardian. Yes, a name that was first mentioned in the first story, the Rebus operation. And he was mentioned again in the 4th part. He was also mentioned last part too, but basically for 2 straight parts, he wasn't even mentioned at all. It's always like, what was the point looking for the segment in the first place if you don't mention him? And by the way, he actually does show up in the last segment. I'll get to that. So then of course he comes, oh yeah, we know wait the key to stop the Xeon. So and here's something quite strange though. By the end of part 2, Astra is kidnapped by these people in uniform. These uniforms. Now they mentioned the Xeons were people who looked exactly like the Astrons, but the clothing was different. Now, why the war was started? Never stated. Nope, never stated the reason why. Just that there's a war going on. It's the military. What do you expect? So she gets kidnapped and basically told, "Oh yeah, surrender and have the marshal be sent over." Probably because she didn't like him very much. And the way it's positioned in the story, it seems like that basically that Marshall wants to become the full dictator of the planet, with Astra having only power in name only. That's what it seems like about power of this story, and that it's like dropped because of the Black Guardian. I'm not kidding about that. It's like dropped for no reason. Then, of course, basically, the guard who was sent to, well, supposedly basically have Astra get killed in a radiator room, he gets magically killed by the Marshal. Oh yeah, the Marshal's got this little thing on his neck, and by the way, how it got there, it's implied the Shadow may have did it, but it's never shown he was captured by the Shadow. He just has it for some reason. Yeah, a lot of stuff related to Marshall is never explained. Like, it's almost like basically we're missing a whole story here. Because Dr. Ives is in the middle of a story. Yeah. And then, of course, they go to the planet Zeos, the one who they're fighting, and nobody is there. Now you're probably thinking, if nobody's on the planet, who's conducting the war effort? It's fought by computer. Well, I heard I'm like, wait, did Doctor Who rip up Star Trek with this episode? Because, believe it or not, there is a Star Trek episode with almost the same exact name. No joke, there seriously is there's basically a episode from Star Trek that has got pretty much almost the same name. Let's see if I can find it here. Because I remember there was an episode that they did do was like this. Let's see. No, but it's not that one. Nope. Oh, I think it was A Taste of Armageddon. Oh, yeah. A Taste of Armageddon. So, similar style story, just different name. Yeah, but this one aired back in 1967. This came out 12 years after that. It could be just by sheer coincidence that they probably didn't wrap up the whole story per se. They probably took a segment, basically a snippet of the story, and basically put it here. Excuse me. Yeah. So, and then the Doctor meets the Shadow, who he tortures him. Yes, he tortures him in a chamber covered cobweb and shoots electricity in him. Oh, by the way, Romana gets the same treatment in the last episode, which was brought there by a brainwashed Romana, not a brainwashed Astra, excuse me. Yeah, and she gets one of those things too. She would get a chance to go to the TARDIS, which, wow, that's something. A character from one of these stories who is not one of the cast actually goes to the TARDIS. It is shocking that none of the characters ever bothered to do this before. Also, this is the first segment where we actually feature a whole scene in the TARDIS. Yeah, the Marshal goes off to have this final glory. So Doctor uses the 5 segments and makes a segment to fill in that 6-7 gap to create a time loop and put the Marshal in it along with the computer that's about to explode. And it's stuck there for pretty much the next couple episodes. Then for some strange reason, we meet this character named Dex, or Drax. No, not from Guardians of the Galaxy. Apparently he knew the Doctor from some school they went to, which is strange. And he apparently has got a TARDIS too. Now, this is basically a contract related to Time Lords, because the way they're written around a lot of the series, they don't give a damn about going out basically exploring the universe like Doctor does. They don't care about going out in TARDISes. They have them. They don't bother to use them. They rather just basically be smug and be above everything. And by the way, with the exception of the Doctor, the Master, Romana, and maybe a couple other exceptions, a lot of them are written that way. They're very smug and they're very arrogant. They're like, oh, we're basically above them because we're Time Lords. That's not a joke. That's seriously how Classic Who wrote the Time Lords. As a matter of fact, Current Who, right when they appeared in the show, they're pretty much written the same exact way. As being complete dicks. Because they are. Yeah, and by the way, he wears an outfit that I remember seeing Tom Baker wore in some images I've seen. This gray suit with this almost like a zipper in front. This looks like an outfit the Doctor maybe wore at some point, but he just happened to wear it. So, yes, how the heck did I got here? Apparently he's been there for 5 years, and he's been traveling across the universe for like a decade. Okay. And apparently the Doctor been like 400 years for the rest of the series. Okay. Yeah, it's almost like this character was just thrown in here because the Doctor needed a new character to talk to because, well, the Marshal's lieutenant and Sergeant America basically take out the story, so gotta create a new character. It's almost like his character's playing completely random. It's like, oh, the Doctor's in his room, and then all of a sudden the wall moves. Like, oh, here's Drax. And apparently he knows the Doctor. The Doctor kind of remembers him. So basically he took stabilizers and the fact he couldn't get his TARDIS moving because it's on the air planet. So eventually after the whole thing with... then of course... Then he gets to the planet after the Shadow's defeated. After they flee from him. They go back to the planet and they basically just disengage the computer by clipping a wire. And then when the time loop basically is undone, the Marshal fires his rocket like, oh, he's going to destroy the planet. And nope, it bounced off, went to the wrong target. And here's the thing. After that one moment, the Marshal's never seen again in the story. Is it killed off? Nope, he just basically like, damn, wrong target. And apparently off screen, him and Drax decided to form a partnership to rebuild the two planets after the war. I'm like, okay, interesting. And, well, that's pretty much it for that. And then we have the stuff with the Black Guardian, where with like, oh, the Shadow's destroyed. The Black Guardian's like, oh, you're dead basically my plans. By the way, the actor who plays it was Valentine Drell, who, by the way, when the Black Guardian returns during the Fifth Doctor for a 3-part story, excuse me, 3-part storyline known as the Black Guardian Trilogy, which I'll review part 1 next episode. Same actor. Yep, they brought it back. Yeah, same exact actor. Like, oh, like he posed as the White Guardian. Like, oh, congratulations. Like, hand me over a target. Like, oh, like, mention about Hermana. He's like, oh, it's no consequence. And then the doctor's like, nope, you're not the White Guardian, so switch on the fences. And it turns out this actually is a Black Guardian. The viewer already knew all along this is Black Guardian because he briefly appeared. Maybe that was kind of dumb on the part of the people who shot this episode, but maybe the Black Guardian is from the start. And I feel he was going to be posing it like, I think it was quite stupid on their part. So then, after they deal with the Black Guardian, like, then of course the key in time is, well, he pulls the tracer and he snaps in half. Breaks the damn thing. The very object is basically part of this whole entire season is broken, and then the whole key of time is scattered once again. And you're probably like, what was the point of that season? We're going to scatter it again anyways. Which, fun fact, they actually mentioned this story arc during Current Who, when they mentioned the Doctor did have one set of the key of time itself, and he let it get away from him, which basically is a reference to this very story. Yep. But as for the finale for this story, it's actually pretty good. I give this one a 9.5 out of 10. Now, here's the thing though. This here is the entirety of the Key of Time story. Rebus Operation, that's the start. Pirate Planet. Stones of Blood. The Android of Terra. The Power of Crow, which is, in my opinion, the weakest segment. And of course, the Omega Factor. Yeah, with this, the entirety of Season 16 is all done. Now you might be thinking, okay, what exactly happened next to comes Doctor Who? Like, what happened? Because at the end of the story, the Doctor put this device in his console, the randomizer. And this will remain there for an entire season and get removed with the start of the final season of Tom Baker's run. The randomizer. This is its debut. And basically, with the start of the final season, they get rid of the damn thing. And what story happened next? That's the Daleks. Yep, the first time they appeared in 5 years. And after this, they would have been sitting in for quite a while until they popped up in the 20th anniversary story. Yeah, that's the thing. Next time the Daleks appear, after this, we'll actually be in the, let's see, the Resurrection of Daleks, which that happened, let's see, about 4 years later. Actually, about 5 years later. Yeah, another 5 years. Not sure why, though, but that's basically what it is. Yep. But yeah, that's particularly a particular view. Stay tuned later on for, I might be doing a stream soon. But, yeah. But see you all in the next video. Bye.